take yourself to the movies alone? Or does that just seem too weird? Do you make reservations and go to dinner for one, just you, out to a really nice restaurant, get dressed up and go out, or not get dressed up and take yourself out to eat someplace? Do you go to museums, amusement parks, concerts? Are there things that you are comfortable doing by yourself? So disconnection from others, disconnection from yourself, and disconnection from purpose. So you lack a sense of meaning or fulfillment. You are feeling just empty, and you don't have anything in your life that really enriches you. Those are 3 key aspects of loneliness. This is the Joy Act, where finding joy beyond divorce begins with your understanding that the depth of your heartache shows the depth of your capacity for joy. I'm Dr. Lisa Summerour, and together we'll use accountability, alignment, communication, and trust to transform your journey. It's time to step into the Joy Act. Good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you are. Dr. Lisa here, your breakup and divorce coach. And today I am so excited to be coming to you after a breakup or divorce. Have you ever experienced jumping from one relationship to the next, or getting into a relationship soon after? Or let's be honest, for some people, they have a relationship lined up when they know their current relationship is about to end. Or maybe your experience is you're staying in a relationship right now that really isn't serving you. You're not happy, they probably aren't happy, but you're staying in the relationship because you don't want to be alone. You don't want to be alone. And that is what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm talking about the anxiety of being alone, wanting you to understand that the anxiety about being alone is really about loneliness. It really doesn't have anything to do with whether or not there's another person, another body in the space with you. And many accomplished women, and this will apply to many men too, who go through a breakup or a divorce, they feel this pressure to do something, to act on it, to get involved with somebody else, to look like they're fine. And for some reason, part of how we seem to think being fine looks is we get involved with somebody else. We get into another relationship. We want to be social. We want to feel something. And a lot of this has to do with the discomfort and the anxiety around being alone. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about today is what do we need to do to deal with this being alone, this anxiety around being alone, and what's really going on? What really is the problem? So one of the common mistakes people make around this anxiety about being alone is they date too soon. They get involved too soon after a breakup. I just did a short a couple of days ago, and I can't even tell you how many people have messaged me saying this one was on point. And it's funny, I got a lot of private messages with this one. But we don't want to be alone so bad that we just jump right into another relationship. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what the problem with this is a little bit later. But another mistake that we make is dating a lot of people. We date a lot of people and there's really no purpose to it, because the reason that we're doing it isn't really, well, I shouldn't say there's no purpose. The purpose is we don't want to be alone. And that's really the main reason that we're doing it. So you're out here dating a lot of people. Another mistake is we stop vetting people. Yeah, we're not vetting people. So dating a lot of people or dating too soon and not properly vetting the people that we date. Now, the problem with this, if you jump into a relationship to just fill a void without healing first, you're going to have some problems. If you are dating a lot of different people just to have this constant companionship, you're probably going to end up having problems because it's just distracting you from doing deep work. If you are not vetting people, that means you are letting your loneliness set the standard for the relationship that you're going to be in. Because we're always going to be motivated by something. There's always going to be something that motivates us. And we need to examine it and make sure that we're being motivated by the right thing so that we're moving in the direction that we actually want to move in. Staying in a relationship that doesn't serve you puts you in a position where you are settling for less, or you're just settling, period. I can remember as I was putting this together, this thought came to me and I didn't write it down, so I'm glad it just popped into my head. Years ago, my sister Tammy said to me, you need to not date anybody else when you are at a low, when you're at a lull, when things aren't going really well, when, people step in and think somehow they're either saving you or you really need them to whatever it is. She said, because you end up with the type of guy who, once you're back on your feet and everything is going fine, their insecurities rear up and they're like, well, you don't really need me. And it's not that I wasn't explaining that before, or that it wasn't visible that I was already pretty good at taking care of myself. But if you lead with things that aren't going right, if you think you're just sharing past situations and the person is taking it in as just a part of a whole, and some people don't do that. Some people take the problems and they make the problem everything. And when you get back up on your feet and the problem is no longer an issue for you, they're like, well, wait a minute. I didn't realize you were this capable. So that was to keep me from getting in relationships with someone where I thought we were on equal terms, and realizing once I got myself back on track at the level that I like to operate at, I'm now looking at somebody and it's, in order for me to stay in this relationship, I'm going to have to settle because they weren't really equipped to deal with me at my best. I want to talk to you about some of the common mistakes that people make when they are trying to avoid being alone. And I mentioned one early. So one is dating too soon after the breakup. And when you just jump into a relationship to fill a void, one, it puts a lot of pressure on the other person because they're trying to fill this empty space in your life that they really weren't designed to fill, and you haven't really addressed it, so you can't even help them help you fill it, right? So jumping into a relationship too soon, dating a lot of people with absolutely no purpose other than you don't want to be by yourself. This is a formula for more problems down the road. Not vetting people properly. Yeah, so you're getting into relationships with people so quickly or just haphazardly, and you're not taking the time to really assess, who is this person? What do they look like when it's not a great day? What's the part of them? I just heard somebody describe it as like that hidden self. What's that secret person like inside there that you haven't seen yet because you jumped into this too quickly? Another mistake that happens when you don't want to be alone is you could end up staying in a relationship that is not serving you. And I'm not talking about serving you from a superficial perspective. I mean, your needs are not being met. You're not being attended to. You don't feel like you're being appreciated or respected or anything in the relationship, but you've been in it for a certain amount of time, or there are some expectations that they have, you have, other people have, maybe even children involved. And so you convince yourself that it's not that bad, and you stay in a relationship, and that creates some additional problems. And then there could be confusion, confusing being alone with loneliness. And I'm going to get back to this in a minute, because believing that being single means that there is a problem. Being single means that you are somehow deficient or defective, because you think that being alone is the same as being lonely. If you are dating to avoid being in an empty house, it's really like eating junk food because you're bored. It gives you something to do, but it's not good for you. It's not healthy. It's not going to get you the outcome that you want. You weren't even hungry. You're just bored and you're in the house by yourself. So you just decide you're going to start eating a bunch of junk food. It's a quick fix, but there's nothing nourishing in quick dating, or dating without vetting, or dating a bunch of people just to be dating a bunch of people. And there's some work that you might want to do to figure out what's underneath all of this. And I've been getting into the habit of saying this. When you start doing that inner work, you're looking for answers. You're collecting data. Just be the scientist in your own life. You're collecting data. And the information that you find, you may not like the answers that you get. It's okay. You don't have to really like the answer, but getting the answer is going to be empowering for you. Because sometimes we look back and go, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed that I did that, or I should be ashamed of myself, blah, blah, blah. If you can look back on it and understand why you did it, even if you don't like the reason, there's power in being able to understand why you did it. So I want to make sure I have my notes here because I don't want to forget anything. Lack of understanding what loneliness is part of the problem. And that the anxiety, and I'm not going to use the term fear. I really want to avoid using the term fear because it really is anxiety. Fear is the presence of clear and present danger. and you are not in any danger. And I got that from Myron Golden, and I love it because it's true. I think sometimes we use words, and we use the word so often in a particular way that it just becomes a habit. And I believe fear is one of those words. And it's not fear, it's anxiety. And anxiety, see, fear typically comes from outside. There's a clear and present danger. You're being chased by something or somebody. There's a chance that you could fall off of a cliff, you know. I was skiing the first or second time I think I went skiing. I went down a diamond that I probably shouldn't have been on. And at some point I realized that there was no banister or anything over here. And it was just a drop. That's clear and present danger. It's like if you don't keep it together, you could slide off of this hill. That's not what usually is going on for us. Usually it is an anxiety. And the anxiety is coming from an uncertainty. It's not actual danger. And so I want to use the word anxiety. The other thing, loneliness is, this is a good one. Loneliness is not about the absence of a person. It's about the absence of connection. Loneliness is not about the absence of a person. It's about the absence of connection. There are three aspects of loneliness when I talk about connections. You've built a successful career, checked all the right boxes, but after divorce, why does it feel like everything is falling apart? Searching for answers online at 2 a.m., it will not bring you peace. Neither will pretending you're fine when inside you're anything but. I remember those feelings, the exhaustion, the anxiety, and the frustration from feeling stuck. It seemed like no matter what I did, I could not figure out a way to move past the pain. If you are dealing with a divorce while you're also managing your career, I've been there. Things didn't get better for me until I stopped waiting for time to heal me and I took control of my own healing. And that's how this came about. That's why I designed the 4 essential steps to creating joy after a difficult divorce. It's a masterclass for accomplished women just like you who are ready to move forward. It's time to break the cycle. Imagine waking up feeling lighter, knowing exactly what to do next and rediscovering your joy, not just surviving, but thriving. In this masterclass, you'll learn the biggest mistakes that keep you stuck in divorce pain, why traditional recovery methods don't always work for high-achieving women, and the 4 essential steps to rebuilding your confidence and joy. Give yourself permission to stop reliving the past and start designing the future you deserve. Register today. There are 3 aspects of loneliness when I talk about connection. So there's disconnection from others. It's about feeling unseen, unheard, unappreciated, maybe disrespected, and even in an intimate relationship. That's the lack of a connection from another person or from other people. Then another type of disconnection is disconnection from self. And I think this one is one of the most important out of the 3, I think. Not feeling comfortable in your own company. And ask yourself, how often do you do things with yourself, by yourself, for yourself? Do you take yourself to the movies alone? Or does that just seem too weird? Do you make reservations and go to dinner for one, just you, out to a really nice restaurant, get dressed up and go out, or not get dressed up and take yourself out to eat someplace? Do you go to museums, amusement parks, concerts? Are there things that you are comfortable doing by yourself? So disconnection from others, disconnection from yourself, and disconnection from purpose. So you lack a sense of meaning or fulfillment. You are feeling just empty and you don't have anything in your life that really enriches you. Those are 3 key aspects of loneliness. Disconnection from others, disconnection from yourself, which is connected to your self-worth, and disconnection from purpose. There are some common misconceptions when we're talking about being alone and loneliness. People think that it's a fear of being alone. It's actually anxiety about the unknown. It's not fear of being by yourself. It's the anxiety of what you're going to do with yourself. You don't know. You don't have a plan for that. It's foreign to you, especially if you have been in a relationship with somebody for a length of time, a long time. You really haven't had the opportunity to do a lot of things by yourself. Now, I will say this. I had one of my coaches excuse me, and I'm not going to mention her name because I didn't tell her I was going to talk about this, but she talked about being pregnant and when she got married, and she was always dating herself. Even when she was pregnant, she found things to do by herself. And I just think it's such a healthy mindset and a healthy behavior to adopt. And it's going to be challenging for some of you if this is really, really foreign to you and it's something you've never done. Trying to imagine what your life is going to look like without a partner is something that's probably been causing you a lot of anxiety. Like you're freaking yourself out about it, especially if the relationship just ended or it's in the process of ending, right? You're in that separation, getting ready to go into the separation phase or just getting into it. You're just getting yourself settled in a new place or in your place by yourself. Trying to figure out what does it actually mean or look like to be by yourself may be something that you're struggling with. And I will tell you this, the solution to your problem is not just adding another person. It's not just bringing somebody else, having a body there to fill that void. And the reason, there are a lot of reasons, but I'm going to give you the main reason as far as I'm concerned that that's not a good idea for you is because you owe it to yourself to get used to being with you. You owe it to yourself. How do you expect somebody else to come in and get to know you, learn the things that you like, don't like, love, hate, learn the things that you want to do, learn what makes you tick today, what's important to you today? How do you expect someone else to come in and take that on when you haven't even done it for yourself? Someone could ask you, so what do you like to do? And you don't have an answer for it. What kind of places do you like to go? Well, I haven't really been anywhere. You need to have answers to these questions. You owe it to yourself. Make it an experiment, make it a game, and find 5, 10 things that you like doing or figure out the things that you don't like doing. Create a list of things that you can go do to see if you like them or not. Where do you like to go for dinner? If someone said you can go to dinner anywhere you want, where would it be? And you can just drive there. Take yourself to that place. There's a show that you want to see. Save up your money or go ahead and get your ticket and take yourself to that concert. And there are things that you can do with friends, with other people. I just think this is a wonderful exercise, especially if this is really foreign to you. Like right now, some of you might actually be scared. You may actually feel like I just introduced clear and present danger into your life, just giving you these ideas. Just hang in there. So I want you to think about something. I want you to ask yourself, because this is when you can identify what loneliness actually is. If you have ever been in a room full of people and just felt like, I feel completely alone. I feel alone even though I'm in a crowded space. And I hear conversations happening around me. There's music going on. There may even be people dancing and you still feel actually like you are by yourself. That's loneliness, because it has nothing to do with how many people are in the space with you or if anybody is there with you, because you can have that same feeling. You will have that same feeling of loneliness whether you're in a room full of people, and there's a very good chance that you've been experiencing it when you're by yourself, which is why sometimes the answer, not a good one, is to just let's go find somebody to date. And look, it may not even be a relationship prospect. Sometimes people avoid being alone by holding on to unhealthy friendships. So it could be another girl, it could be a girlfriend or someone that you want to be a girlfriend, and you find yourself saying things like, yeah, well, I know she kind of says things that are kind of hurting, but she's just being honest, or I know she's just joking, or you know when somebody has stabbed you in the back or at least tried, and you're still in a relationship with them, and you have to ask yourself, what is it that you're trying to get from that relationship? And I contend that it's getting rid of this feeling of being lonely. You are wanting to have connection, right? But you think that it means I just don't need to be by myself. I need to have somebody that can hang out with me, or I need to have somebody who I can call, somebody I can spend time with. And so it could be a friendship, or it could be a more intimate relationship, and you're using that person to fill a void that they're never going to be able to fill, because this is not about proximity. It's not about proximity. So the reason that these things aren't working, when you're dating too soon, it just leads to you repeating old patterns. You haven't given yourself time or space, like I said before, to get to know you. you haven't given yourself an opportunity to figure out what things were working for you in that relationship, what things weren't. What do you need to change about yourself? And so that dating too soon leads to those repeating those old patterns. When you don't vet someone and you just jump right into a relationship with someone and you haven't given yourself time to really take a look at who is this person, now you just increased your risk of being in a toxic relationship because you haven't given yourself time to see little signs of things that are not. I'm not talking about looking for perfection and just nitpicking at any and everything. I'm talking about you really having an understanding of what your desires for yourself are, what your values are, and seeing signs that say, this person's not in alignment with who I am. This person is not in alignment with how I want my life to be. This isn't somebody I really want in my life. If you move too quickly and you don't vet, if you are constantly seeking companionship, and this is where it gets to, it could be a relationship or a friendship. If you are constantly in need of having somebody else with you, you miss out on the opportunity of actually getting to know yourself. You miss out on that opportunity. You can lose yourself in those relationships because you may find that you're so busy catering to them because you want to keep them in close proximity. You don't want to lose these relationships, that you're compromising yourself, or you're getting yourself into compromising situations that are out of alignment with your own values, with what's important to you, and you lose yourself. And I can remember I can remember years and years ago hearing women say, I just lost myself. I needed to take time to go find myself. And I used to think, how does that happen? And I think I just needed to be older and meet more people and understand the dynamics of relationship issues to understand what that really means. And I think it's not even that they lost themselves. They never connected with themselves. They've been disconnected because if you're in a relationship where you are constantly catering to someone else's needs, you are making concessions to please or appease another person, and it's so out of balance, the relationship is so out of balance, you do kind of lose who you are. You lose sight of who you are. You disconnect. That's a better one. You disconnect from yourself. Yeah, so when I talked about that disconnection from others, disconnection from yourself, that is how that disconnection happens. Why people get this anxiety about being alone and the problems it creates, staying in unfulfilling relationships. So this is the person, you are in a relationship that's not serving you, it's not healthy for you, it's not really benefiting you in a way that makes you feel good about yourself. And the problem with that is eventually you're going to start feeling resentment toward that other person. You're going to resent that you're still in that. You're going to blame them for you staying in the relationship. And this is a great way to stunt your growth. And I want to give you an example. I was working with a company and it wasn't, I realized it was happening, and I know I realized it because I remember having these conversations with colleagues and a couple of girlfriends, that it's like, I am forgetting what I'm good at. I'm forgetting what my strengths are, what my skills are, because I was being put in this little box so that I could be kind of contained or controlled. And I wasn't, my wings were feeling like they were being clipped. And I think when you are in an unfulfilling relationship, whether it's a personal or intimate relationship, or it's a professional relationship, when you are in a relationship that is not fulfilling, you can count on the resentment kicking in at some point if you don't get out of there in time. But even worse than that for me is how your growth gets stunted and what it takes for you to get out of that environment and realize, wait a minute, I do have wings and I need to, I gotta open these things up. I have to be able to spread these wings. I need to remind myself of what I'm good at, what I'm gifted at, where my talents are, so that I can continue to grow and find ways to be a blessing to other people. And I think when you are in that relationship where it's not a growth environment, it's not a healthy environment, you feel like you're dying a little bit every day in a relationship that is not fulfilling. Another mistake, if you believe that alone is the same as lonely, then you got a problem. If you believe being alone, being by yourself is the same as lonely, this is what's going to keep you from really having true self-discovery, and it's going to prevent you from healing. You got to understand that these two things are not the same. Loneliness is not going to get fixed by having another person in your proximity. It's not. It's fixed by strengthening the relationship that you have with yourself. That is how you address loneliness. You strengthen the relationship that you have with yourself. You strengthen the connection that you have with yourself. You probably heard this before. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken bone. It's just not going to do anything. It won't hurt anything, but it's not going to help you heal. It'll cover it up. It might hide a little bit of the blood, but your bone is still going to be broken. And if you don't get it set properly, you might have to break it again so they can put it in place properly so that it can heal correctly. So where can you learn to do things differently? Where can you learn to do things in a way that is going to be more beneficial to you? So you can redefine your alone time. Redefine what it means for you to spend time by yourself. You want to learn to enjoy your own company instead of being afraid of it. Instead of really creating anxiety about the unknown of what it means to spend time by yourself. And there are things that you can actually physically do, steps that you can take to help you with that. Another thing how you can learn, before you vet the person that you might start dating or that you are dating, vet you. Vet yourself. Ask yourself, why am I dating? And I have this in a bonus workshop with my Accomplished Woman's Divorce Recovery Program. There is a dating course in there, a bonus course for dating. And vet yourself. And I have a whole questionnaire for people to ask because you really need to ask yourself, am I ready to date? Why am I about to start dating? What is it? What is the reason that I want somebody else around? And if you can't come up with a reason, or the only reason that you're coming up with is, I don't like being by myself. Like, I hate being alone. I'm going to ask you to really reconsider dating right now until you get over that. Because I think I said this earlier. If you aren't comfortable being around yourself, and you don't know what it takes to make you feel satisfied or happy or fulfilled or content, you haven't explored all of that. You haven't experimented with things. Asking somebody else to come into your life and then getting to a point where you have an expectation that they have answers to those questions when you've never taken time to answer them for yourself, that's just wrong. That is setting somebody up for failure. And it's all because you didn't take time to self-vet, even before you start vetting them. You want to rebuild confidence before you start building a relationship with somebody else. So again, this is the woman in the mirror work right now. You want to heal and strengthen yourself before you step into a relationship. You want to be operating from a place of abundance. I'm going to tell you, it is such an empowering place to operate from, to go into a relationship with somebody where you can just be all of who you are on your best day and have that be well received. And so if it has never happened for you, I want you to imagine what that would be like. And it's easy for us to play to the weaknesses so that the other person can feel strong. You also want to be able to comfortably show your strengths so you can have balance. And so this person gets to meet you and see you as a whole person with all kinds of some flaws and some fabulousness and all of those things worked in. It should not be all of one thing. So it's not you're just strong and you can handle everything and you don't need help from anybody and you got this. It can't be all of that. And it can't be all, I'm just a demure little flower and I just need help with everything and I need, somebody to come and make all my decisions for me. It can't be all of that either. There needs to be, and both of those things, let me just say this, both of those, I went to extremes, and even in that, they both operate on a continuum. There's strength that starts here, and then there's strength that can go all the way, you got a whole stretch of land here, a stretch of road for strength, and you got a whole stretch of road for vulnerability and weakness and all of the things that make us human. And your power, your strength, your beauty is going to come when you meet somebody who allows you to express all of those things in a way that's authentic, so that when that attraction kicks in and when they tell you how they feel about you, it's all of you. It's not just the parts that you were willing to show. And I know that this can be difficult and it can be scary Because if you come out of a relationship that wasn't healthy, sometimes that could be the thing that scares you. That could be the thing that it's an unknown that causes that heightened anxiety. It's like, well, what if they don't like me? And this is why it's so important that you like you. You gotta like you. When you love you, other people will feed off of that. Find fulfilling connections beyond romance. Woo! Look, your friendships, your hobbies, your activities that are purpose driven, the things that you decide to do because they just have such deep meaning for you. These are the things that are going to cause you to step into your beauty and your power and your grace, and you'll learn to move into other relationships with grace and ease because you're just living your best life. And that doesn't mean perfect. It's not your perfect life. It's perfect for you, but it doesn't mean you don't have things that don't work out. It's just that you deal with them differently and you understand that everything isn't going to work out, and that's okay too. That is absolutely okay that some things aren't going to work out. Some of this is really about us being willing to experiment with our lives. And there's beauty in that. There's excitement in that. You don't have to know what's going to happen every single time. You don't have to know what's around every single corner. What you do want to know is that you're equipped to deal with it. And that's not going to happen until you take the time to get to know you. You get to shift the narrative. Instead of asking yourself, why am I alone? Why am I by myself? You can ask yourself, what am I going to do with this time that I have to myself? How can I make this time alone fabulous? Because you're still creating stories. You are creating stories every single day in your life. And when you do meet someone, how wonderful to have a story about, I love being by myself. Let me tell you some of the things that I did. And you can ask them, so when you weren't dating, when you're not with anyone, what are some of the things that you enjoy doing by yourself or for yourself? And you get to now find out, are they comfortable being alone? Why are they? Wait a minute. I don't want to be the person he's dating just because he don't want to be by himself. You'll also get clued in on that. So imagine if you spent really quality time building a relationship with you. You just decide, I'm going to date and fall madly head over heels in love with me in a good way. And you could say to yourself, if I met somebody, where would I want to go? If they said, I'll take you anywhere tomorrow, you have 3 hours, where would that be? And then plan a trip and take yourself there. You starting to get some ideas? I hope so. How different would your life feel if you became the best date you've ever had? Because what you actually are doing, you're modeling the behavior for yourself that you want to have in a relationship. And they might not hit all the points, because I don't think anybody's ever going to know you as well as you know you when you really put the effort into it. But the key is you need to spend the time getting to know yourself before you bring somebody else into the equation with expectations that they're going to figure you out. The anxiety is around you not knowing what to do when you are by yourself. That's really what's going on. You're having anxiety because you don't know what to do with yourself when you're by yourself. Think about that. This is what I want you to know. You don't have to run from that. You don't have to run from that reality. Just sit with it and understand you got this. You don't have to run from this. You can actually figure out a way to make deeper connections with yourself and with other people. And you can do that one vetted person at a time. You're going to start by vetting you. And then as you bring other people into your world, even if these are friendships that you had before, even if these were people who you were friends with when you were with your ex, they were mutual friends. As you get back out there and start spending time with people, take your time and really pay attention and make sure this is somebody that I want to be spending time with. And I'm going to vet them because I have spent time getting to know who I am and what I like and what I value. And now I need to see if these folks still fit. And do I fit them? It's a mutual exchange that should be going on. So don't make yourself feel like the bad guy, like, oh my gosh, I'm just Xing people out of my life. No, you're deciding who you want to invite into your life. That's what you're doing. If this resonates with you, post in the comments, share what your experience has been or what it is now so other people can chime in and we can hear what's going on out there. Have you gotten past the anxiety of being alone and you realize that what you were doing was just trying to run from the loneliness? And what are some of the great things that you do or have done by yourself, for yourself, with yourself, however you want to put it? Thanks for being with me this episode. Make it a great day and go out there and act in joy.